Hi, I'm Cassie.
And I'm Mariah.
And this is the Cassie and Mariah Show, a podcast where two long-distance internet friends, that's us, discuss navigating their 20s through disability and chronic illness. Mariah, what's good?
What's good? So many things. I am working on a website update right now, and I am feeling so girl boss because of it. I really like, being able to make jewelry and make a whole bunch of new things and creative things that, like, by the time you listen to this, the website update will be out. So please check out mariahscrystalstudio.com. Use code TCMS for a discount. I can't remember how much the discount was, but yeah, shop my website. I have been making a lot of new pairs of earrings. I've been making some new bookmarks, and I'm getting rid of these. I was making like airplane holders, and I'm actually stopping. And I'm going to make like flower holders instead, like dried flower holders. And they're coming out really pretty so far. I've worked on a couple, but I'm kind of like still figuring out how I want them to like look and how many flowers I want them to hold and things like that. So that's like my little surprise thing that I'm working on. And then I have some new bracelets that I'm posting, and then like I'm doing a vendor event on the 10th. So I'm like, oh, I feel so girl boss right now. Like,
you are
getting shit done. It's great.
It's been so fun to watch because I know for the past several months or longer you've been like wanting to work on website stuff and just haven't had the energy. And I mean, you were working a creative job, and so it's like now that creative energy is being saved for yourself, and that is probably helpful. And also, God, every time you post a picture of earrings, I'm like, yes, this is the year I will stab holes in my ears just because I want to wear your earrings that you make. So if that's not a plug for her website update, I don't know what is.
Dude, when I come to visit, we should pierce your ears in your bedroom.
Like Parent Trap style?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That'd be kind of epic. You should get your ears pierced when I kind of go to see you, so I can get like second holes in my ears. We can both get like your ears pierced.
Yeah, but I feel like I want to do it even before then, because then I can't, because it's like you have to, I don't remember how long it's like quite a while. I feel like you have to have the ones that you got pierced with in your ears.
They have to heal for a couple, I think like 2 months.
Yeah, so it's like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'll do it after the legislative session.
When's your next session at your PCP? They could do it there.
What?
When's your next like appointment with your primary care doctor?
I'm sorry, my primary care doctor can pierce my ears?
I mean, like pediatricians pierce ears.
Oh, what the hell? I did not know that. No, I feel like I'll go to like a professional piercing place instead of like
a tattoo shop that does like piercings.
Yeah, instead of like the Claire's of the world.
No, Claire's are gonna get pierced by like a 16-year-old who is going to make a TikTok.
I went to the froyo shop the other day, and it was fully being run by teenagers. And mind you, this is the same froyo shop that first we noticed they're not giving out sample cups anymore. That's kind of weird. And then we noticed a lot of signs saying, please don't touch this in this way. Please be careful what you touch. And I was like, I bet they got health code violated. And then when we were there on Thursday, I saw the sign. There was like a sign by where you grab your cup that said, sorry, we don't do sample cups anymore per instructions from a health inspector. And I was like, I knew it. But hey, I've never gotten sick from there. So, let the teenagers run the damn place. Who cares? My froyo was phenomenal.
Wait, I wonder how that even works, though, because, like, ice cream places around here give out, like, samples, like, spoons.
My guess is there was, like, just, like, there was probably just gross. They probably weren't, I think they had multiple violation issues happening.
That's nuts. Wow.
Yeah, but, I mean, there were fully teenagers running that place, because when we walked in, they were sitting in a booth on their computers. Like, I don't know if they were doing homework or what was happening, but
like on the clock?
Like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Iconic.
I mean, my high school best friend used to basically run one of those places. I mean, it's wild. It's wild. But, Yeah, no. Teenagers do be running a lot of shit in this world.
Dude, they run this city.
They run this city.
Um,
Anyway, but yes, I would like to get holes stabbed in my ears so I can wear your earrings.
Please. Yeah. Oh my god. Because I'd love to make you shit. Like, I just love making people stuff. Like, and I just want to make... I don't know, I think it's just also fun. Like you said about, like, being able to save my creative energy for myself. Because there's so many cool things that I'll make. And I'm like, awesome. Like, I'm glad that this is for me. And that, like, you know, other people like what I make. And when I get compliments, I'm like, oh, like... That's me, bitch. Like,
Damn
that's
right.
me that's getting those compliments because of something that I created.
I wanna get them pierced in time where I can wear earrings you make for graduation.
Aw, yeah. That'd be cute. I'd love that.
Make matching ones with my cap and gown.
Oh my god. I would, too. I totally would. I feel like you would like the clip pairs that I make. Like the Huggy hoops. Because they don't
I
fall
like
out.
the ones that are just straight up a rock hanging on there.
Yeah.
I'm into it. I'm like, simple, effective. I want a rock. Thanks.
They're like fun to play with because it's like the sensory of like the
Fidget, but it's with my earrings and then I rip it out of my ear.
Yeah, or like you break the stone in half.
Oh, God.
I've also been like, I've been applying to jobs and stuff still. And I'm romanticizing one of them so hard, like being a bank teller so bad. I want to be a bank teller so bad. Oh my God. I'm really hoping that I get this job because my application is under review and I did see that they're no longer taking other applications for the job. So I was like, okay, like step in the right direction. Like I will kind of have to keep checking the portal if I don't hear anything. Because they said like, you know, they'll update the portal and then they'll also like reach out to you, you know, if you're chosen for like the next step. But oh my God, I'm sitting here like on my hands and knees praying that I get this part-time bank teller job.
I'm sorry. All I could think was, on my knees praying when he opens his arms and holds you close.
Is that One
More
Direction?
Than This by One Direction. Yeah.
It sounds just like a One Direction song. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Oh, man. Up All Night era kind of slaps.
How was your week, Cassie?
It was like fine-ish, I guess. I don't know. My brain was not doing well most of the week, which was annoying and inconvenient because it's hard to do homework when your brain's not working, which is annoying. And I did have my follow-up doctor's appointment that had gotten rescheduled from the ice storm. And, you know, we decided to up my Lexapro to the full max 20 milligram dosage, which I just took my first of today. And I'm realizing I haven't had side effects today.
Oh.
Like, I haven't, like, had my usual crash, but I did go out to lunch with a friend, and now we're doing this. So I don't think I've had time to crash.
You were saying before you were tired.
Yeah, but I think it was the post-meal sleepies.
True. There is a difference.
I had a very nice lunch, and now I'm like, got my tummy full, take a nip. And also the sun was out earlier, and I never see that anymore, so I feel like the sun makes me sleepy. But while I was at the doctor, whenever I'm there, like, we kind of just throw in my usual PCP stuff while I'm at it to just stay on top of stuff, because no reason to make a separate appointment. And so she was like, oh, you're due for blood work. And so she's been checking me for hypothyroidism because it's genetic. My mom has it. And so she said that, like, I went over the threshold, and so she started me on meds for that. It could also be why I am so fatigued and the cause of my depression, and could be all sorts of stuff. But it'll take 4 to 6 weeks for those meds to, like, make a noticeable difference. So I don't have another appointment till mid-March, unless I need to schedule sooner if my Lexapro doesn't start working and if like things don't start getting better. So we'll just kind of see. I mean, I really don't know. You know, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm just like, okay, cool. Another health thing, another cool a pill I'll have to take till the end of my days. Thrilled to be on the chronic illness journey.
You know, it's actually funny. Like, I actually was diagnosed with hypothyroidism a few years ago, and I don't like have any of the issues with it anymore. I don't even take meds for it.
Oh,
like I kind of dealt with a lot of that stuff. Well, I wonder if it has to do with Trikafta. Maybe that like balanced it out in some way, because I was routinely getting tested for hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism, and I was on hypo meds for a while, and I know that stuff that can make you tired as well. I believe a lot of those medications can kind of cause like fatigue side effects, but yeah, I don't take that stuff anymore. I don't remember exactly what I was on, but I'm sure I can like look back and see.
I mean,
I have a lot of health issues like that.
Levothyroxine is the most common.
Okay, doesn't sound familiar.
The annoying thing about it, though, is you have to take it, like, before you take anything else, before you eat breakfast, before anything.
Right, like you have to wait, like, a couple hours, like an hour before you eat or something.
It's, like, half hour. It's basically just, like, yeah, make sure it's, like, has time to get in your system kind of thing. So I just basically, when I get out of bed and put my phone over on my desk, I just have it sitting by my water glass so I can just take it. And then I figure pretty much by the time I'm done getting ready and even like make food and sit down to eat it, that it's been enough time at that point.
Yeah, no, I get the same way, because I have a medication in the morning that I have to take a half hour before I eat anything, and I take it and then I'll do my treatments, and like, you know, that's when I'm ready for breakfast.
And then yesterday, I had to go to the DEQ to do, and this is something I've never thought about until I wanted to talk about it on the podcast. I don't know if this is something every state has or not, but when we go to renew our tags, which, does every state even have tags on your license?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my god. Okay, so basically we have to renew our tags every 2 years, which is like our vehicle registration. Do you have to renew your registration?
Yeah. What did I just did something recently, but it's not like physical tags. It's not like stickers. Is it the sticker? No, it's not car inspection.
Yeah.
Is it inspection?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Then it's a tag on the front.
On like your license plate?
No.
Oh, where do you put yours?
On the windshield.
Oh, well, ours go on the license plates on the front and back. Yeah. Okay, so, but you guys do, like, you go and...
But you go to the Motor Vehicle Commission, like you go to the DMV.
Well, we go to the DEQ, which is Department of Environmental Quality Test Center, and they do it all there.
Oh, nope.
So is yours just literally just the DMV?
You go to the DMV that has like the testing center, like a testing area.
Okay,
like
gotcha.
A garage essentially,
and
that you pull into,
and they plug in the computer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we just, for some reason, we just have like a separate. All of our like testing places are just like separate from the DMV. They're run through the Department of Environmental Quality, but then they do all the stuff there. But anyway, the reason I wanted to share about this very mundane part of life is because I had just the most positive experience in terms of accessibility, because usually they have you get out of the car so that way you're not in the way of them trying to plug in the computer and stuff, and like to pay and stuff like that. And the guy was like, if it's all right with you, like, if you want to just turn a little bit, like, your body in your seat a little bit, I can just reach in and you don't have to get out. And then he would, run my card back and forth and my papers back and forth as he was doing stuff, and just, and then he even put my tags on for me. Aww. Which I thought was so nice and helpful, because usually they just say, here you go, bye. And so I was like, usually when I get home, I just like have my dad put them on or something. And so I was like, wow, that's literally so nice. Like, I know it's such like a simple thing, but it's like, for me, it's like, getting my stool out, getting out of the car, getting my crutch out so I can stand there and wait, and then getting back in, pulling my stool back. Like, all for them to like do this like 5-second test on the car.
Yeah.
Versus the fact that I was just able to turn in my seat and he was able to reach in and just do it. And it was like, I literally like found where I could send in like a comment to the DEQ inspector program and be like, I think Charles is fantastic and the best. Because like, I don't know, it was just, and he was so like positive and uplifting and nice. And it was a Saturday morning, it was like, it was not, I don't know. It was just, and thank God they're open for part of the day on Saturday, because it's like, otherwise these places are all open like 8 to 5, 9 to 5, and I'm like, people work.
No, yeah, I mean, the same thing with us. Like, the DMV one is open on the weekends too. I think only on Saturdays. But I'm also just hung up on the fact that you have to pay.
What do you mean? Yeah.
You have to pay to get your vehicle inspected?
Yeah.
How much is it?
The inspection or the renewal registry?
Both.
Well, the inspection itself's like $25, and the registration was $190 something.
Wow, we don't have to pay to get our vehicles inspected. It's completely free in New Jersey. But the registration, there's something I paid for my car recently that was $40. It wasn't my car insurance or anything, but I think that was my renewal registration. I had to fill it out online. My car is like the first car I've had in my name, where like the other cars I've driven in the past have been in my mom's name. So like, I know she did a lot of this stuff, so I'm like unfamiliar with it. But that's interesting. But I love that guy was so nice though.
Yeah, I'm so, oh my God, now I'm like, I want to look up how transportation is funded in New Jersey. Fucking nerd. Nerd alert. Because I'm like, well, to me, I'm like, I don't really mind paying the less than $200. I'm like, cool, that'll fill about 2 potholes, 1 a year. Happy to be of service here,
I mean, we pay a lot in, I don't know, in other ways in this state.
You guys, don't you have sales tax?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say we don't have sales tax. So.
Yeah.
So when you come here, you need to buy everything. I don't know.
Yeah, right? And just ship shit home in the mail.
Yeah.
So this way I'm not paying for sales tax. I'll just pay more in shipping.
Hell, just bring in an extra empty suitcase, check a bag on your way back.
I mean, why not? I could.
You can buy toothpaste. Who
I should
knows?
I'll buy a check bag. I'll buy a bag out here.
So true. So true.
And send it home with me.
Oh my God. Incredible.
If you like the show, be sure to follow and rate it on whatever platform you're streaming on to help us reach more people. You can also send us questions or stories you'd like for us to discuss on a future episode. DM us on Instagram at tcmspod or email us at tcmspod@gmail.com. Thanks. It's like the PBS. Like, PBS is brought to you by viewers like you. The Cassie and Mariah Show.
Well, I'm excited for today's episode because this is something I've wanted to talk about in one medium or another for a while. It's an idea I came up with back when I was on my TikTok bullshit, which I just remembered. Sorry, I'm just having flashbacks. I might have deleted my TikTok account. Or maybe I think I deactivated it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I randomly did it the other day. Because I was like, I hate being perceived. Especially on an account I'm not using. So I just deactivated it. But I think it's one of the ones where it's it still exists, but other people can't find it. So I could reactivate it at any time. It sounds like if I wanted to, as opposed to permanently deleting it. But I don't know. I just was I don't use this anymore. I think the fact that if you were to look me up, the first things are from, like, kind of a long time ago. Like, I don't like that, you know?
Yeah,
'Cause I'm
you're
like,
a different
that's-
person now.
Yeah, damn right. Like, don't perceive past versions of me. That's disgusting. But when I was regularly making content on TikTok, a lot of it was about disability or accessibility or just, I don't know, you're supposed to, like, yeah, I don't know, if you make, like, series, people like watching like similar videos talking about different things. I don't know. And so one of my ideas was, like, talking about things that I would do in another lifetime, or, like, in another body kind of thing. And so that's what we've got on the docket for today.
Yes, gonna talk about what we would do in another lifetime if we were still ourselves and just could have any route in life to take, or if we had another body or any type of, different circumstances than we do right now.
Yes.
Cassie, what would you do if you had a different body?
I think, and this is probably, I wonder how common this is for disabled people, but I'm just like, everything is like so movement related. It like, the idea of running just sounds so freeing, even though most able-bodied people I know are like, ew, running, gross. I'm like, I just want to fucking prance through a field.
Right? And it's funny because it's also like, oh yeah, you think it's running's hard for you because, like, you can do it, man. Like, we can't. Yeah. Like, that's why you hate running. I don't know. It's like, because you can even give it a shot.
True. And then it's literally just, like, I literally think in another lifetime, instead of, like, being into, like, music and stuff so much, I think I would literally be heavily into sports and, like, want to be, like, a professional athlete. Because I feel like I'd like to believe I would still have my same level of drive to do things in life. But if I had an able body, I feel like I would apply that to, like, just going so hard on sports. Like, I would love to, like, skate. All kinds. Roller, ice, board. All of them.
Board skate?
Skateboard.
Oh. Dude, also, like, transparency, I just came back from the gym like 2 hours ago and I took a shower. I'm in sleepy mode. I just ate a protein bar, so my brain is moving a little bit slower pace than usual right now.
That's
Board
okay.
skate.
That's okay. Board skate. I don't know, I see those, like, videos of, like, little kids learning to skate at the skate park and I'm like, fun?
Right?
Why
What's
not
it about me?
What about me? Huge one. I would absolutely want to be a gymnast.
Oh, yeah. Of
100%.
course.
Because what the hell is more able-bodied than a floor
Doing
routine?
flips and shit. Right?
Yeah.
Cassandra Wilson on the floor doing a back handspring.
What would my floor song be? It was something One Direction, right? Or
right.
As It Was, Harry Styles.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Very, like, interpretive dance. Throw your arms up and stuff.
God, that would just be so fun. And that's one where it's like, the kind of nice thing about gymnastics is you age out about the time so I could go to school for a totally different career. I could be a professional gymnast, then go to college and have my collegiate gymnastics career, and then have a completely unrelated, I could just do whatever I want. Like, I could go to school for whatever, and knowing that I'm going to age out of gymnastics because my body will be, and then do whatever with the rest of my life. And that seems kind of nice.
Right? To kind of just, like, get it out of your system.
Exactly. Because whereas, like, if I were a soccer player, I don't know, they're able to play for quite a long time. Although it's kind of, then it's like almost an awkward time in life to move on to doing something else. So I feel like you'd be more likely to coach or...
Yeah, like, even people that, like, play football and then, like, retire, a lot of them become, like, media personalities, or they do the same thing. Like, they'll coach, they'll, start a nonprofit or start just some other thing to do. Because of that reason of, like, you can only be an athlete for so long and you retire by, like, almost 35.
But then it's like to some degree an awkward age to start a totally different career.
Right. And, like, unless you're, like, a household name or something, you're not gonna, you know, like, you gotta figure out what would work next.
Yeah. And then, especially, I'm thinking about this a lot because it's winter right now. I would love to, like, snowboard or ski or, like, some sort of winter sport. Sounds fun. Just, I don't know. It's kind of like, it's like, I don't know. I'm thinking about how fun sledding is and how fun slides are and how when it was icy out, I just wanted to lay down and slide forever. And I feel like snowboarding or skiing, it kind of is somewhat that.
Yeah, no. I've tried skiing once and I didn't like it because I have this like perpetual fear of like falling and breaking my arm or something. So I get like nervous. But those sports, like, they're so injury, like you're highly you have a good chance of getting injured. I can't remember the word.
Susceptible.
Yeah, I can't say stuff sometimes. It gets stuck.
That's okay. But yeah, no, exactly. But I feel like if you were able-bodied, you'd have the confidence and invincibility of an able-bodied person.
You wouldn't have so much medical trauma like I do.
Exactly. We wouldn't be like, if we get injured, that could worsen our disability.
Facts. No, like, oh, so real, actually.
And able-bodied people aren't afraid of being disabled because they simply just don't think they ever will be. Sorry if you're able-bodied.
That's a heavy hitter.
Just now learning that someday you're going to be disabled too. So sorry to break it to you. And then I think kind of the last main like movement thing, but falls outside of like sports, would be like hiking. Living in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh my god.
And also being somebody who loves nature, I continually say I would like to go rot in a forest. It's like I just wanna hike so bad. I just wanna climb a tree. I don't know, man.
No, I mean, that type of exercise like that, it's so, like, it's such a, you know, like, for people that can hike like that, it's such a privilege. Like, as someone that also really can't do, like, much, like, intense, like, movements or, like, workouts like that. Yeah, I see people that, like, post, like, them, like, fucking, like, the Delaware Water Gap is, like, a place in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, where people like to do a lot of hiking and see waterfalls and stuff. And I'm like, that shit's crazy. I would totally reach a certain altitude and die.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, what a privilege it is to be able to have go on a hike. Take a hike, man. You know, like, you can say that, but, like, literally.
Yeah, and I just think, too, especially sports stuff aside, I think, like, running and hiking, to me, would be really great mental health activity. Or even just going on a walk.
Facts.
Not a stroll, but a walk. Like, being able to do casual exercise. Because to me, walking, even if it's across the house, kind of is exercise. It gets my heart rate up. It's not just like, it's like, no, I'll start to be out of breath. Like, that's just the reality of being disabled. But the idea that you go, oh, I can't believe I didn't write this down. I would love to fucking ride a bike. Just ride a bike. I would love to ride a bike. Oh my god. The freedom of just... Anyway, I know there are accessible bikes and I've ridden one, but to ride a traditional two-wheel...
Like a mountain bike, yeah.
Vroom, vroom. Ka-chow. Sorry, that really... Whew.
That biker energy in you.
And just the freedom. I think between running and biking, I'm just like,
no, 100%.
I just want to make my body go fast on my own.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's like the freedom. It's like being a wild horse, you know? Like being able to just run and like run freely. And like you said, the mental health benefits of that type of stuff slap. Like, you know, being able to go for a run and that like having that feeling that like clears your head. Like that must be so satisfying to like feel cleansed in that way.
Exactly. Or, as Maggie Rogers once said, I see horses running wild. I wish I could feel like that for just a minute.
She was spitting facts.
Horses by Maggie Rogers slaps. Oh my god, she's coming out with new music and it's so good. I'm so ready.
Her last album was severely underrated.
Could not agree more. I think people ignored it because they thought she was in her pretentious girl era because she was like
Because she got
in
a
a
haircut.
master's program and cut her hair.
True.
And they just actually hate women.
We didn't say that. No, they just hate, like, when, like, I don't know, because, like, in a past life...
Heard it in a past life,
in a past life, was such, like, a phenomenal, like, album out the gate that, like, I think a lot of people were, like, they heard one song off of her most recent one and they were like, oh, nope, like, as if they were, like, rejected it immediately. Like, I feel like that was a lot of the, like, public's opinion at first, which, like, and then when I actually listened to it, I was like, dude, this rocks. Oh, it's still Maggie Rogers. So it's still a phenomenal album. And God forbid a girl wants to get fucking education.
Her new stuff is going to be so good because she played a couple songs live this summer from it. And oh my God, it's so good. And the first single she's releasing for it, I don't know when it's coming out. I think like next week or maybe later this week. I have no concept of time anymore. February sometime, I'm pretty sure. Is called like Don't Forget Me. And oh my fuck, she played that live. And I love that she had like lyric videos play behind her on stage during those, and so you could like which was nice because I kind of hate when bands play songs that are not recorded or not released yet live because you think I can hear or understand a single thing you're saying. No. So it was nice to be able to like see the lyrics, and it was such a beautiful song, and I think she totally made the right move making that her first single, which I don't even know how I got... Oh, horses running wild and fast. I was like, sometimes you gotta follow the ADHD thread back. You gotta go, burp, 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 horses.
You gotta reel in the hose.
Which you're a horse girl, so you get it.
I'm a horse girl. My horse girl.
Have we told the podcast that you're a horse girl?
I feel like I've mentioned... Oh, why didn't... I feel like we've talked about this, but I could have wrote that down on my thing. Like, been a horse girl.
Yeah, tell us more.
So, I think it's funny that when I was younger, my parents decorated my room in cat stuff and horse stuff and got me neither. Because I always had these little, like, cat posters in my room. I always had little horse pictures and shit like that. I remember, like, going to my one ENT and there's a horse farm near there. And we would drive past and be like, oh, there's the horses. There's Merriweather. Like, there's this one. Like, I remember their names. And I pet them once. I think I rode a horse once at somebody's birthday party when I was a kid. And that was it. I never did like horse lessons. But I imagine riding a horse is fun. I think horse girls get a bad rap. I think horse girls, you know, they're just like, oh, you wouldn't make fun of somebody for liking a dog, but you make fun of someone for liking a horse?
It is true.
It's just an animal that people like.
Where does the horse girl lore come from? I feel like it comes from elementary school because there was always one horse girl. Yes.
Well, I guess, like, for us it was hard because there's not a lot of, like, horse stuff around here. Funny enough, I do live near a town called Colts Neck. So that's funny. Because there's horse farms there. But, I think that I don't really know where the horse stuff came from. I think it's just because of being a girl. We're like, yeah, your brother gets Spider-Man for Christmas, you get a horse doll. Like, Barbie always had a horse, so, like, I had Barbie's horse. I had a little stable of miniature horses with my name on it that said Mariah's Farm or something. Nice. I remember I was obsessed with those horses. I did have favorites. Horse lore with Mariah.
New segment.
Oh, I used to tweet horse facts all the time too. I think that was before you followed me on Twitter.
Wow.
If you looked up my username and horse fact, you would find some horse facts.
Oh. Were they real?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I wouldn't lie on the internet.
Cite your sources.
Source, dude, trust me.
What are some other things that you'd want to do?
So, I feel like for me, where you talked about movement, for me, I would say, like, my parallel to that would be physical safety. Mm-hmm. Because, like, you know, I know you've mentioned, like, doing, like, stuff like skating, gymnastics, like, soccer. Those are actually things that I did when I was younger. Like, I was in gymnastics when I was younger. Having CF and always like needing to stay active and stuff, my parents always had me in some like rec sports. Like I did soccer when I was younger, I did gymnastics, and then I did cheerleading from there. But for me though, like physical safety, I've always wanted to be a teacher. Like I always thought that I would be a great like English teacher, or like kind of like a early like I guess maybe more of like a late elementary school teacher. I think that I would like prefer to be, or even be like a nurse. Like I've always thought, because like of being around medical stuff and like liking weird shit sometimes, I think that I would like to be a nurse. But knowing that those are both two careers that would put me in like a harder place with like being around sick people, and especially being around sick children. And it kind of was something that really came apparent to me like during the pandemic, about how some people like really had a hard time with like having their kids wear masks to school. So I'm like, you know, God forbid, like if I was ever in a position where I was a teacher, and then it's like, you know, would my like students' parents like respect the fact that I would still want them to wear a mask, or like would they give me a hard time about that? And like same thing with being a nurse, where like I think that would just be putting me in like harm's way like way too often. And I know there's different sectors of the hospital. Like you could be an ICU nurse, you could be a trauma nurse. You're not actually seeing sick people, but it's just more over the fact of being in a hospital and working in a hospital, and like, you know, having the chance of being sick.
There's other like things that you could get that are not necessarily just somebody having a cold, like from just like interacting with bodily fluids and stuff too.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So like that kind of puts me like, those are both two careers that I'm like, oh man, like I think I would thrive in, but it would be hard for me to actually like, you know, be able to care for myself in the way that I currently am. And I think even just like physical safety as well, like being able to run a marathon. Like I know we did talk about running, and I would love to run free like a wild horse. And also do something like a marathon, like something that's like 26 miles, like at one go, you know, like being able to like surmount like an accomplishment like that would be awesome. But I actually think I'd have a heart attack and die. Like, I think that, like, obviously, even with training, I think that it would be very difficult for me to do something like that. Like, my lungs physically cannot withstand that much, like, force at once. Or even just, like, working out in general and, like, being able to see the results that, like, able-bodied people feel. Because, like, this is something I've noticed more recently, because I've been going to the gym about, like, 3 times a week. And I will almost, like, intentionally, like, you know, in order to, like, lose fat and gain muscle, you kind of have to be like in a calorie deficit. So like, let's say, these are hypothetical numbers, I don't know anything. If you eat 2,000 calories a day and you burn off X amount of calories a day, you need to almost like burn off a certain amount of calories and not like eat them back. And that's like every day with working out. So I realized that for me though, I can burn off 700 calories at the gym, whatever. I come home and it's like, I can't put myself in a calorie deficit because my body is fucking starving. Like, you just saw, I ate just so much snacks right here, fucking sitting here in the beginning of this episode. Like, my body actually cannot physically withstand me being in a calorie deficit because it is like, holy shit, I'm like lacking nutrition, like exponentially. So I realized, I'm like, oh, like, you know, being able to like see the results that able-bodied people feel, like being able to like, and not even saying like dieting, but being able to just like have the chance to do stuff like that. Like, you know, those girls that do like fucking all clean vegan diets, like people that do like no processed foods, no like extra sugars, like, and I know a lot of that even too is like a diet that most people can't do because it's a very expensive diet, but also like for the fact that like I would not be getting my nutritional needs met, period. Like if that was a diet that I was doing, even with vitamins and stuff like that, like I'd love to be vegan. Like I'd love nothing more than to like, you know, have a clean diet and like not ingest animal meat. But I would, like, my iron levels would fucking hit the floor, like, fast. Like, even, like, the amount of healthy fats I would be gaining, like, you know, like, I wouldn't reach that. Like, there's a lot of stuff that, like, I wouldn't be able to do if I, like, went completely vegan. Because even, like, being, like, you know, even vegetarian stuff is hard. Because, like, I think I just get so much nutritional content from stuff like meat and dairy and things that my body
Especially
would be
protein.
like missing. Oh yeah, like
Even just from dairy, it's just more concentrated. You usually have to eat so much more of vegetarian or vegan sources to get the same amount that you would from meat or dairy. And it's like, and that's exactly why, like, I mean, I think we're finally at least in an era where people like are like, yes, eat what you need to meet your needs.
yes, exactly. I like that. Another one that I have written down is being able to park in a far parking spot and walk into a store unfazed. Like, that's the dream. Being able to park far and walk and not let that be such like a limiting factor when you go to like a store. Which is funny enough that I'm still not getting a handicap placard. They really said, get fucked. I've been using, it's currently January 28th when we're recording this, and I have a couple more days before it's expired, so I am using it. I'd be using that shit everywhere.
I went to lunch today, and when I got back to the car, there's like two sort of the two closest accessible spots. There's two, and then in between them is like the marked off space. And when I came back, there was somebody parked in the marked off space.
Of course.
No
placard.
No placard. No placard, no plate, no nothing. Just parked there. I was like, okay.
Did you need them to move for you to get into your car?
No, thankfully, because and I'm surprised they even parked there because because I need the space on the driver's side to give me the space, they were to the right of me, but because of that, I honestly, a lot of times kind of park over the lines onto the marked off space when it's on the right side, so that way, if the person parked to my left is close to me or whatever, I can still open my door all the way to be able to get in, and so I was surprised that they even parked in the middle, because they were parked pretty close to me, because they weren't supposed to be there.
I see that so often, and it's like, I don't know. Do people really not understand that is for ramps or for people trying to get into their cars, and you're parking there? It's not a free space. You're still, and it doesn't matter. Oh, I'm just running in the store. I don't give a fuck. Don't park there. You know, like I get so. It's the same people that like pull into a handicap spot when they're on the phone.
Ugh.
And it's like, oh well, I'm just like, it's like, no, I don't give a shit. I literally don't care. Like, park somewhere else. Don't park here. I used to get so mad at my community college for people doing shit like that. I would, like, fucking honk at them.
Yeah.
To move.
No, it's infuriating. I feel like at my community college we had that same issue with the drop-off area specifically had an accessible spot in it, and people would park in it, and I think we actually eventually the public safety office like put cones next to it or something, like something that made it more clear, you know, like do not block this. But it's just, I don't get why people don't pay attention. Like, I almost get it when somebody who does have a placard parks there. It's like, God, sometimes you're desperate, but it's almost never people with the placards who are the ones parking on the lines.
It's always somebody else that doesn't have the placard up or the decals on the license plate. Yeah. Like, it's always that. And the last thing I have actually for my physical safety is living in the mountains. I don't know what mountains, just living in the mountains.
You mean like at altitude?
Well, like living like isolated.
Oh, gotcha.
Like living somewhere away from, like being able to like live in Alaska. Like being able to live somewhere where like you're away from like society. And just because I think that like the less people the better. Like I think that, you know, somewhere like serene and peaceful and, you know, where I can have my own, the shining moment and go crazy. But I think that it just sounds like very peaceful being able to like live in secluded areas.
But you mean like you wouldn't have, are you thinking like access to healthcare or what?
Well, like that, yeah, like physical safety would be like, I need access to healthcare, like living somewhere like Alaska where like, you know, I'm not going to be able to like get the medication that I need from the pharmacy down the street. Like, I'd most certainly have to order everything, or, you know, even like when I had my port at the time, it's like a nurse has to come to my house. Like, you know, that I feel like there's a lot of like care that I wouldn't be able to get if I was living, like further away from a, you know, like a town. Like if I live like 2 hours outside the closest town, like that's gonna be possible to get most of the shit that I need.
Gotcha. Yeah, I will say, if any of my Alaska friends are listening, she and I'm trying to imagine how you're picturing Alaska right now. And I'm like, there's like, definitely like chronically ill and disabled people who live.
Oh, of course. No, I mean like, I just mean like living in like total isolation of like, you live like 2 hours outside the nearest town. Yeah. Like, that's what I mean. I don't mean like living in like, I know people in like the capital and inside like different places in Alaska, like, have access to shit like medication and basic needs. But it's just more
you
of
like... You
want
to live in a cabin in the woods.
I want to live in a cabin in the woods. That's
honestly, same. I didn't put that on my list, but I'd say that's a big one for me, because I would love to live... I've grown up in a rural area, and I would love to live in a rural area, but even just the fact of yard work, I can't do it. I would have to pay someone to do it. I would have to always be driving. Like the jobs that I do are not out here. Like, it just doesn't make sense for me. And kind of similar-ishly, the last thing on my list for if I had another body is just how much easier it would be to travel. It's not that I necessarily can't, or, well, I mean, it's just, there's so many barriers in my way that it's not just like something I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna buy a plane ticket to this place and go there. Like, I just, like, that's just not.
Yeah, no, like, there's a lot more work that goes into it. Like, you can't just plan like a spontaneous like weekend getaway. Like, it has to be something that you literally have to look up every ins and out before you even do it.
Which, like, yeah, and we talked about so much in our travel episode, and I feel like that's one of our best most informative episodes, if you haven't listened to that. Speaking of which, I've been meaning to say all season, if this is your first time listening to the show, and you're like, who the hell are these people? Even though it's not our best episode, I would recommend going back to our very first episode where we kind of give our life stories.
True.
It's kind of the Wikipedia of our lives.
It's a fun one. It's a lore-filled episode.
Oh, yeah.
The lore.
And then there's if we had another lifetime, but we're still us. Because, okay, this is kind of where my original, like, most of, like, my, you know, if I had another lifetime, like, series idea, like, had come from, because I am somebody who has wanted to do and be so many things when I grow up, and I still feel that way, and I probably always will. And so I'm just like, I've kind of had to like change my mindset from I want to do all of these things to like, oh, it's too bad if I had another lifetime I could do these things. The first one is one that I technically have done, and so I could, but like, I mean it in a different way, is work in the music industry. Because I did like, I was on that path, but like, because I stopped, I'm not doing that, and like, I mean, like, I guess for basically all of these things, I mostly mean have a career in these things,
yeah,
and so, like, have a, like, lifelong career, like, in the music industry, and I also mean that more proper, too, because my experience was in the advocacy space of having to advocate to exist within the music industry. And I mean it more so from like an actually like artist manager, like marketing, like, you know, that type of the way that I wanted to as a teenager, or like run a venue kind of thing. Have a more
music industry like designated job rather than like music, you know, doing advocacy in the music industry.
Exactly.
Yeah, because, I mean, I kind of have the same vein of that for my, like, other lifetime, still me, but disabled, is working in audio production. And, instead of that, working, you know, in a music or television and living in New York City. Like, as much as I would love to live in the mountains, I ideally would have thought it would have been really cool to live in New York and, like, pursue music in New York. Like, I don't know, I want to go to NYU and, like, do their fucking music production program and work for fucking Broadway. Like,
Oh my God. It'd be so good. It'd be so good.
So good. It would hit so hard.
Oh my God. I love it. This makes me think of, like, in elementary school, did you have that, like, student of the week thing where, like, you would fill out the All About Me poster?
I think so. Yeah, where it's like, what did you want to be when you grew up and stuff?
Yeah, this reminds me of that. Oh. I similarly also, beyond just the music industry, I think it would be cool to work in film or theater or comedy or entertainment, the parts that are not the music part, because I think that there just needs to be so much more disability representation on all aspects of entertainment.
Facts.
Whether it's, like, from the acting perspective or the writing perspective, production, just everything. Which I know that there are so many wonderful people who are making strides in those areas. And that's also something that gave me peace. I think when I was younger, I don't know, when you grow up constantly being the first disabled person to do things, and I still am in that position, then it makes you feel like, God, I wish I had another lifetime so I could make strides in these other areas so I could see it. But it's like, I keep having to remind myself there are people doing that work, even if I don't see them necessarily.
Yeah, because they're in, like, the same level as you are, where it's, like, not going to be, like, publicly known, you know, outside of that industry that this person is making these changes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because, I mean, I think about the same thing with, like, acting and having a music career, or even just, like, comedy, content creation, like, doing something in, like, the entertainment industry, because I think in the same way where it's kind of like, oh, being, like, the first person with, like, CF to have, like, a huge, like, career like that, or being able to, like, advocate for yourself and your disability to, like, a wider platform.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple, like, there's, like, people that have CF that are, like, influencer-esque type of people, but I know a lot of them, it's not their full-time career, and they're also just, like, they just be posting in the way that I'm posting, but they just have more followers than I do, so it's not like they're, like, profiting off of what they're posting. But I think it would have been really cool to be like, oh, like, being, you know, like, winning, like, you know, or even just, like, having any, like, accolades where you're like, oh, I'm the first disabled person to do this, or I'm the first, like, I'm, like, you know, you're the trailblazer in that type of, like, industry. And, like, I guess because part of me also wants to, like, you know, for other, like, disabled people, or even, like, other people with CF, chronic illnesses, to just kind of show, like, you can do this. Like,
yes.
You know, I think a big thing now that I'm realizing is that I know a couple people that have, you know, I know a couple parents that are caregivers for children that have CF. And I think a lot of them, like, having a chronically ill child, sure, is nerve-wracking. I can only imagine, you know, being a new parent and being a new parent to a child that has an illness. But it's also like, dude, like, you guys are in such a better position than what my parents were in. And also, like, your child's gonna be fine. Like, they're gonna be okay. Yeah, it's hard and it's scary right now, but, like, your kid's gonna be able to do everything that the other kids are doing, because I also was able to do a lot of the things that my friends, you know, were doing. And it's almost like I kind of, like, part of me wants to be, like, that, like, beacon of light for other people, to be like, yeah, like, this is possible.
It's like the actual disability inspiration instead of the bullshit inspiration we get labeled with. And not to be like, oh my God, you're such an inspiration for existing. Instead, it's like,
right, like, being an inspiration for a reason,
for people who are actually inspired for similar circumstances. Yeah Something that kind of that reminds me of too is for, like, a similar reason of serving, like, other people with disabilities would be to work in the fashion industry. Because, as I've discussed before, like, the shoes I'm wearing are the only shoes that I know of that fit my feet because they've been discontinued. And so it's like literally like designing shoes that are accessible, or designing clothes that are, I don't know, more easily adjustable in terms of length for people with dwarfism, and just things like that. Kind of like, I don't know, I think about how like Old Navy has, like, you can get things in petite, regular, or tall. What if you could get things in short?
Right. Yeah. Like, yeah. No, I think that's so, I don't know. Like, I see, because I have, like, the same stuff like that in my head where I'm like, oh, work in the fashion industry, and, like, kind of like in the way that if you ever gone on, like, the Aerie website, they have women that model their clothing that are, like, they have a few, like, disabled women and women that aren't, like, that, like, society's idea of a model, you know? And I thought, like, for me, like, oh, it'd be really cool to, like, be able to model, and, like, whether it's, like, bathing suits, underwear, what have you, where, like, you can, like, see, like, the scars on my stomach, or, like, see, like, the imperfections in, like, a disabled person's body that are, like, oh, like, no, like, those are pretty. Like, they're cute. Like, I love how that person looks.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I even thought about that with your shoes, too, where I'm like, damn, how cool would it be if you could fucking make your own shoe company?
And not have it be $1 million. And it's just, yeah, and it's such a bummer, too, because even the things that are successful, like Billy shoes or whatever, like, they still don't fit me, because they had to be mainstream enough that normal people could wear them.
Right, that they can get the money from able-bodied people to, like, literally fund different, like, shoes that they sell.
Yeah. A couple other jobs that I would love to, which it's funny how much of this is jobs, but I don't know.
Capitalism.
It runs our lives. I would also love to be a teacher, but there's definitely a lot of barriers stopping me, but also plenty of other disabled people have done it. I mean, like, Judy Heumann, like, you know, it's like literal, like, people who have been leaders in the disability rights movement, like, lots of them have been teachers. Lots of disabled people have been teachers. So I know there's nothing stopping me except for another lifetime, because I'm not pursuing that. I'd love to be an astronomer. I love space. Period. Nothing else to say there. And I'd love to be a meteorologist. I did used to go out in the snow and give the weather reports on the video camera, and then you send it into the news and they play it. It was good. It was good stuff. And then these are less like, these would be more like, even in another lifetime, they'd still probably be sort of pipe dreamy. Although one of them's like illustration, graphic design, which I guess is just kind of another career path, because if you trained, you would get better at it. And there's plenty of jobs in just like graphic design and stuff. But the other ones are more like pipe dreamy, would be to like pursue music full time. Because even now, like, I don't even like, I don't know. I think once I graduate, maybe I'll be able to play more and not feel like, oh, but I'm supposed to be doing homework. I'm supposed to be doing this. And it's like, just actually be able to just enjoy playing. And then I feel like throughout my life, there have been several times that my friends and I come up with, well, we should open our own whatever. And mine's like, I'd love to have like a bookstore froyo shop combo, or I think I've also talked about, I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast, but I'd love to have an air hockey cafe where it's like sliding scale, pay what you want, you know, unlimited air hockey.
Bookstore froyo shop air hockey rink. Combined.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think of a lot of stuff like that too. Like, I'm like, oh, in another lifetime, like having like an actual storefront for my business, or having a, like, I mean, I don't know. I also think that I'm like, oh, like in another lifetime, like being an author, but I'm not ruling that one out yet. Because I could do that. Like, and that's why, like, I feel like a lot of my things that I think about, I'm like, there's still that hope in me that this is going to happen. I mean, let's hope I have, like, plenty of years left on this earth that shit like this can still happen. Because, like, you know, people start new careers when they're 50 sometimes.
Yes.
You know, like, so you really can't rule anything out.
Yeah, no, I think that, like, I was also going to put, like, be an author, like, on my list, too. But I was like, no, I'm not counting that out. Like, I don't know. I just think there's like plenty of that stuff where you could like work on it on the side for years and then, have it happen or whatever.
No, because I mean, like, even the same thing with like music. Like, you're gonna have hobbies when you're not working. Like, and they'll be, like you said, when you're not in school, it's gonna be a lot easier to do that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think about a lot of people who, like, somebody like Brittany Broski. She was working at a bank, and then, like, a year later, she's a fucking TikTok creator in a Super Bowl commercial, Like,
yeah.
That shit's crazy. Other stuff I had on my other lifetime, which I don't think I mentioned these, were I would have loved to go to college out of state, and, like, moved out of my parents' house by now. Sure, I would like, I'm not gonna, like, I wouldn't feel comfortable, like, living independently somewhere because, like, if I'm not feeling well, like, I still may need someone to, like, caregive for me a tiny bit. So I think it'd be, like, a physical safety thing for me to also want to live with other people, or at least another person.
Yeah,
just for my own peace of mind. The ending segment that we have, the same one we've been doing the past couple episodes, Pod Don't Post. Cassie, what you got for your Pod Don't Post today?
I've got two. One's funny and one's more serious. The first one is that the sketchiest websites provide the greatest free technological services. They're almost always a .net that looks like it was made 20 years ago.
2006, yeah.
Yeah. I recently, for podcast purposes, needed to cut an audio file in half, and I was like, I'm sure there's a website where I can do this real fast. And mp3cut.net came through. Because the thing is, when you Google search this stuff, the first few options are like ones where you think you can do it, but they're gonna make you pay, and they always look really nice, and that's because they make you pay eventually. The ones that look like shit and like they will give your computer a virus, work just fine, give you no issues, don't give you a virus, like absolutely nothing. They're just trying to serve you. So yeah, I am all the time, like when I'm applying for jobs, like I use a PDF combiner to combine my cover letter and resume because Adobe doesn't let you do that shit for free. I used to, when I would definitely not illegally download music, I used to use the YouTube to MP3 converters.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's like these things always look sketchy, and let me tell you, they're not. They are providing us a great service with their outdated looking website, and
it hasn't been updated since it first came out.
I mean, except for it probably has to be compatible with.
Right, but aesthetically it hasn't changed.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just extremely impressive, and I thank them for their service. I guess, how many do you have?
I think you could keep going.
Okay.
Mine are short.
So my other one is check in on your friends. I know that life gets hard and busy, and it's normal to go a while without talking to people, especially in adult friendships. But make sure you know how people are really doing, because sometimes people need help getting help. And it can be really easy to overlook what other people are going through because we're all so busy with our own stuff.
Yeah.
But we also need to be there for each other. So just a reminder, text that person you haven't heard from in a while.
Yeah, have those, if you need to have hard conversations with somebody, do so and come from a place of love. I like that.
All right, what's your Pod Don't Post?
My Pod Don't Post is, well, speaking of mental health stuff, 10 milligrams of Lexapro makes my brain feel good, but I am worried that it's a fleeting feeling. I was like hardcore cleaning my desk and organizing the other day, and it felt amazing. It felt delicious. Going to Michael's to buy craft supplies brings me so much joy. I've never felt that invigorated in my life. My boyfriend's dad got me a Michael's gift card for Christmas, and I went hard, like getting a bunch of new stuff that I love and I needed, and I feel so satisfied. I bought a new notebook yesterday from this cute like Japanese stationery store in North Jersey. And it's primarily for my desk, and I'm going to make sure this notebook never leaves my desk. It's just the desk notebook. This is its enclosure is my desk. I want to, like, because I use sticky notes and Post-its a lot. So I'm like, I want to use a notebook instead. So this way, if I, because otherwise I'm throwing out a sticky note and I'm like, oh shit, like, what did that say? You know, like, especially when I'm editing stuff for the podcast and I just make, like, quick notes. And then I'm like, oh, what was the real idea? I have no idea. And it's because I threw the sticky note out. And then I'm texting Cassie and she's like, Mariah, it's in the dock. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, yeah, but I'm on my phone. I don't have Google Docs on my phone. Anyway. But my own issues. And I'm also listening to the second book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series, which is called A Court of Mist and Fury. And it's so fucking long. It's like 60 or 70 chapters. And I'm just now like 53% of the way through it. And I have until, like, it's gonna, like, midnight, you know, on February 1st. Like, once it strikes February 1st, it's gonna take the book away from me. So I gotta finish it in 4 days. I know it actually says there's I think 2 more audiobook copies available, so I could just, like, I may be able to extend my loan. Yeah, maybe I'll just, like, extend it.
I was gonna say, it usually only gets ripped away from you if all the copies are on hold.
Right, like if somebody's waiting for the next copy. Yeah. But I really hope that I can finish it. I think I'm gonna be able to do it.
Godspeed. That's pretty good luck if there are copies available, because I feel like the series is just so popular right now that's kind of shocking. Right. But maybe people don't make it through ACOTAR, so then they're not even on the sequels.
Well, you know what it is? People aren't listening to the audiobooks.
Oh.
Like the book itself. When I went to get, like, a copy of the ebook or whatever on my phone from Libby, it was like a 14-week wait. And now, that's why I was like, wait, the audiobook, so people must not... Oh, granted, the audiobook is 24 hours long, 24 hours. So I think that's... A lot of people are like, oh, fuck that. That's a long-ass book. Which, they are right. But I think that, you know, because it's around, like, 600 pages.
I was going to say, like, to me, I'm just like... Don't they know how long they're gonna... I'm like, don't you know how long you're gonna spend physically reading it anyway?
Right. Like, and, well, this book is the thickest one in the series. So, like, I think, you know, that's why, like, a lot of people, like, are turned off to it because it looks so long. But, yeah, I think it said, like, 28 out of 30 copies. So I think that 2 are available if I, you know, miss the mark and have to extend it or just renew it, then, like, I'll be fine. And then I'll be able to finish it in, like, probably a week at that point. It's just, audiobooks it's just, I don't know, I wish I could listen to them faster. It's not like a book where I can just skim through it. Just, like, turn the speed up to, like, 3 times speed and, yeah, like, listen to it.
I was going to say, I'm listening to my current book on 1.5.
Maybe we'll move it up to 1.5. It has to be barely noticeable, though, because when you can notice that it, like, picks up the speed, it really takes me out of it.
Yeah, no, and to me, every narrator is different. Every narrator, every book is completely different.
Although the narrators for these books, she's very good. So that's why I'm happy.
I just mean, like, in terms of speed, though, like, some people, if you speed them up at all, it's too fast, and some people, if you, I don't know. I have some video lectures for my classes, and I listen to all of them on 2 times speed. And because each new video starts out on normal speed, if I don't get it turned up in time and I hear how they normally talk, I'm like, this is excruciating.
Like, they're so slow.
I'm like, oh my God. Well, and it's funny too, because with the videos, it does kind of... I guess when you're listening on 2 times speed, it really changes their voice quite a bit. It doesn't, like, make it high-pitched squeaky or anything, but, like, they just sound... It doesn't pick up the depth or, you know, details of their voice so much. It's just going so fast. But, oh, man, that scratches a brain itch with school stuff, because I'm like, okay, I got the pertinent information. Thank you.
Love that. Well, that's a wrap on this week's episode. Be sure to follow the Cassie and Mariah Show wherever you listen to podcasts, at TCMS Pod on Instagram, and look out for new episodes every Wednesday.
Bye!